Hi there guys, and welcome back once again to Jonesy's question time. So yes, you noticed it's on the Monday night now, and this is a brand new, basically a brand new slot for the show. It was, as you know, always Sunday nights, but with me putting out the Leeds United Weekly now on Sunday nights, and that's already a sort of a 25-minute video. I didn't really want two big videos going out on a Sunday night, so I thought I'll move question time onto a Monday. And apologies obviously for last week missing out. I was so busy sort of the last 2 weeks, but if you watch my diaries and other videos, then you'll know why that is. So we got a little bit of a bumper episode this time round. We've got 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 questions this time round. And let's just go in no particular order. I'll probably start with this one because I did answer Freddie Nelson's question last time about rugby league fullbacks, and he's kind of asked a similar question here of who should start at fullback for England against New Zealand. Really kind of going on the terms of last time round and the way I was talking about it. For me, you can't really look past Zach Hardacre at the moment. He's really the most sort of in form fullback I think that we're seeing in England at the moment anyway. And yeah, you just can't really look past him. I mean, I know he's had a bit of a kind of checkered past with his international rugby league career anyway. But you know, if we're wanting the best English fullback at the moment, then for me, you really can't look past Zach Hardacre. So I'll quickly answer that one for you there, Freddie. But thank you once again for sending in that question. Let's go and move over to Twitter, where Steve asked me, do you not struggle in your job as a salesperson with your depression? Very, very interesting question, that, Steve, and I'm glad you asked that. To be honest, I've not really found it that much of an issue yet. Obviously, there are days where the last thing you want to do when you're in a particularly kind of big or bad bout of depression, the last thing you're wanting to do is really kind of interact with people. And Lee will vouch for this when because obviously I work with Lee at the furniture shop that we work at, and yeah, there are days where I must be an absolute nightmare to get on with because I go really quiet, I go very introverted and everything, and I just don't like talking, I don't really interact with people, and obviously when you're interacting with the general public on a daily basis, it can be difficult, but I don't know how I've really managed to do it. But I somehow switch off from my depression, and because obviously all my colleagues know that I have it, so they're really, really quite accommodating in that on my bad days they will try to deal with the customers, more than me. But obviously sometimes if it's too busy, then I obviously have to do my job. And when I do it, I just somehow get on with it, really. And it's weird. I really don't know how I managed to do it, because there can be some days at home where I literally don't want to face the world, yet some days at work, I don't know. It's just something inside me that just forces me to do it. And I just wish I had that kind of force all the time when I was really suffering with depression. It is a weird one, but it's not really been so much a struggle that I haven't been able to, complete a day at work. I've not called in saying I can't go into work today because I'm really struggling with my depression. So it's not really been that much of a struggle. I must say with my depression, just a bit of an update. Touch wood, I've generally been okay for sort of about a month. Obviously still have the odd off day, but a couple of months ago I was going through the stage of struggling on more occasions than what I wasn't really, which wasn't particularly down to anything, as everyone knows. But yeah, for the past month or so, I've been genuinely and generally doing okay with it. So yeah, thank you very much for your question there, Steve. A bit of a different one, but yeah, I do appreciate it. XX Joey Lad XX has said, "Hi Jones, if Leeds could play any other team in the world on your birthday, which team would you want to see them play?" I'm not really sure, to be honest. I mean, I've seen us play back in the Champions League days. I did see us play against Real Madrid, and that's when it was the real sort of. I think was it just before the Galacticos? Yeah, it must have been just before the actual proper kind of Galacticos team. But still seeing some great players there, like Raul and Figo and that. Although I think Figo was playing, maybe not, but I know Raul was definitely there because I remember being excited to see him. But sort of at the moment, I don't know. I'm not really a big fan of other teams, really. I mean, the obvious answer is to say Barcelona, but as great as they are and as many great stars that they have, I'm not really that fussed. I'm trying to think of where I really want to go in the world. Because it'd be an away match, so if we're going to play a big team away, where do I really, really want to go? Let's say New York Red Bulls, because I really want to go to New York. So on my birthday, Leeds will play New York Red Bulls in New York, and that way I get to spend my birthday in New York and see Leeds play. But yeah, I don't know, probably a team like that, just seeing us play in America would be something different. I don't know if that's ever happened before or not. I don't think it has. But yeah, playing something like, LA Galaxy or New York Red Bulls would be quite an interesting experience, and to do it on my birthday would be fun as well. So I'll probably go for something like that, Joey. So again, thank you very much for your question there. James has asked, what is your favourite TV comedy? I'm guessing you just mean sitcoms or just TV shows in general. Wow, this is kind of opening up a can of worms, because I could just sit here and list programmes all night to you. Like when it comes to TV, comedy is the main thing that I watch TV for. I'm not a big lover of your kind of big series like your drama series or action series, like kind of Game of Thrones and Doctor Who are the only non-comedy kind of TV series that I'm actually into. I'm not. Although I've watched the first series of Breaking Bad, it's just I can't get into stuff like that properly. Maybe I should give it more of a go. But yeah, anyway, back to the actual question. TV comedy. My big favourites that are kind of all-time classics for me. Friends is just, I've got the whole, the box set, and it really is just something that I can watch over and over again, and I never get tired of it. I absolutely love it, and it's that kind of comedy that just, it can get better with age and everything, and it's a timeless one as well. There's not that many references in it that you don't understand by it getting older as a series, so I really like that. Kind of the current version of Friends, I suppose, or similar kind of style of it is Big Bang Theory. Absolutely love that. Obviously, it's got that nerdy kind of side to it, but it's got some great comedy in it, some great actors as well. I've been talking to Lee about this recently at work, and his missus, talking about favourite characters from it. I honestly cannot pinpoint and say who my favourite character from Big Bang Theory is, because I really do love them all, and they're all such fantastic actors with it, and they make it such a great show, and there's some great writing that goes on with that have just made it, such a big hit so far. So yeah, really, really love Big Bang Theory. Going back in time a little bit, I absolutely love sort of 80s comedy, TV comedy. So, like Two Ronnies, Morecambe and Wise, stuff like that. Not the 9 o'clock news, a lot of, the Ben Elton and, oh my God, I've forgotten his name. The guy who created, the guy that created QI, Thingy Lloyd. I can't remember his bloody name now. Anyway, him, that he was involved with lots of stuff, so things like that, and Blackadder and Porridge, all proper decent British comedy from that era. I love, The Young Ones as well. Love stuff like that. Phoenix Nights, probably up there with my favourites. Or Black Books as well, with Dylan Moran and Bill Bailey and Tamsin Greig. God, that's so good. That is like one of my earliest memories actually of starting to watch kind of TV comedy and sitcom things was actually Black Books, but didn't understand it at the time, but growing up and watching it back, I absolutely love it. Then there's like, your Family Guys and Simpsons, stuff like that. I quite into that. Father Ted, all-time classic as well. I'm basically, the way I'm doing this, I'm just looking up at my DVD and video collection and stuff. Father Ted, you just can't not like Father Ted. I challenge anyone to watch that and not find it funny. Red Dwarf, again, timeless classic. Bit more of a kind of a cult following, Red Dwarf. It's one of those where I can understand why some people might not get it, but I just absolutely love it. Arrested Development as well. Count Arthur Strauss. Yeah, I could keep going on, James. I really could. But yeah, I'm a big lover of TV comedy. So if anyone ever wants to get on my good books or anything, then just talk to me about comedy series on TV and everything. And yeah, I'll talk to you all night about it. So thank you very much, James, for that question there. What have I answered so far? Let's do that one. Tom Ibbotson on YouTube has left a comment saying, "What is the best football ground? Yes, best football ground that you have ever been to?" I really love going to St James's Park up in Newcastle. I really do like that stadium because, well, just the sheer kind of scale of the two sort of main stands there and where the away fans sit, it's just massive. It really is. I mean, kind of similar at Sunderland, but I didn't actually enjoy Sunderland as much. But St James's Park for me, as since a young boy, just the architecture and the style of it, I've just always been fascinated by it. So yeah, definitely St James's Park. I did quite enjoy the Emirates. I definitely didn't enjoy the atmosphere of the home fans. Mind you, same could be said for Newcastle. Actually, they were quite quiet, really. But as actual, architecture and grounds go, the Emirates is fantastic. Really, you don't appreciate it just seeing it on TV, but when you get there, it is really quite a special ground. And what else have I enjoyed? I hate all the modern style stadiums, your Riverside, your Pride Park, well, what used to be Pride Park, Middlesbrough Derby, Reading, Doncaster, just boring basic grounds that have, zero atmosphere, there's no character there. Everton, I quite enjoyed Everton. That's still a very, very traditional looking ground. I mean, the toilets have seen better days, I have to say. I've never, for a Premier League club, they might have changed them by now. But I remember when I went there, they left somewhat to be desired. But the actual, the tradition side of the ground and everything was really nice. Craven Cottage was a nice trip as well. Quite enjoyed that. And also, because I do like your traditional old and smaller stadiums as well. When we played Harrogate Town in pre-season, that was a really gorgeous little ground. I really enjoyed it. Nice and neat, but still a traditional side to it. And yeah, I really enjoyed that one. But I think my favourite one out of all those, the first one I mentioned there, St James's Park, it's like I say, since I was a young kid, it was one that I was always kind of obsessed with and always really wanted to go to. So yeah, I will say St James's Park. So thank you, Tom, for that question. What have I done? TR Gamer has asked, what would you rather Leeds United do? Win the Capital One Cup and the FA Cup in the same season and enter the Europa League, or be promoted to the Premier League? Obviously, as much as I want to see Leeds United back in the Premier League, I think if we were to do that, we'd probably just see us coming straight back down again, and it probably wouldn't last that long. Whereas if we were to win, the Capital One Cup and FA Cup in the same season, that's something that stays with us forever. That's history. We've won both of those cups in that season, and our name will be on that trophy, and we'll go down in the history books for doing that, and that will never be taken away from us. And entering the Europa League would be fun, and we probably wouldn't get very far, but at least we'd get some, maybe a decent journey out of it and some fun. Whereas, getting promoted to the Premier League, maybe slightly before our time, nothing would really be remembered for that. If we did do it and we ended up staying up there, then it would be great. But it's one of those things, a bit of a double-edged sword. We'd get up and we get the money and everything, but the chances are we might come back down quite soon. So I would actually choose to win both those cups and enter the Europa League, because, like I say, it's something that will go down in history, and that would be such an amazing feat, rather than just getting promoted to the Premier League one season and maybe coming back down the next. So as much as I do want to see us up there, TR Gamer, I would have to go for winning those cups there. So thank you very much for that one. Tom Roach has asked, do you think rugby league has a potential to be a much bigger sport than it is? I kind of touched on this before. In fact, I think it was another question from you, Tom. I feel at this moment in time that rugby league has kind of got as big as what it possibly can do. We've seen a big transformation in other sports that needed it and kind of uplifted the sport as a whole and got more people interested and generated interest sort of around the country. Kind of particularly thinking in darts and snooker over the past few years in what Barry Hearn's done. He's done a fantastic job with both sets of sports there. But the thing with rugby league is, I think they've really done as much as they can. I mean, it's a sport that is fairly cheap to go to. It's definitely not on the levels of your football. You can go watch a Super League match for between £10 and £20 for an adult. And that's on a regular basis, so it's a very affordable sport. They show a hell of a lot of it. It couldn't be televised more. The BBC and Sky show a lot of matches, both Super League matches and cup matches, and every now and again they'll show some lower league games. And every kind of rugby league club, the rugby league family is a special family and a special community because it's more kind of recognised as that working class sport, so there's a lot more togetherness there in that, it's not a rich sport, there's not a lot of money there, and I don't think a lot of money would really make a big difference, but by having that community spirit to it, it does mean that you have a lot of community projects with nearly every rugby league club that you go to and that you see. So in all local communities to where there are rugby league clubs, clubs couldn't be doing any more there either. So there's nothing really that could up the profile of the sport anymore, and I don't think there's any way of really getting any more interest into the sport. I mean, possibly if the international matches were somehow made a little bit more interesting, because there's never a lot of interest in the internationals, because the majority of the time it will be New Zealand or Australia that win. In rugby union you've seen that a bit, but you do see other nations getting involved, but because England, Australia and New Zealand are the biggest, countries in rugby league that kind of do well, you never see France or Wales or Scotland or, Fiji or whatever, teams like that doing well. So it could maybe, prosper a little bit from having a bit of a stronger international game. But rugby league as a whole, for me personally, Tom, I think it's really got as big as it's ever going to get, because I just can't see any way of improving it really. I don't say it's a bad thing. I don't think it's in a bad way at the moment. I think it's quite healthy, the amount of people and the amount of support in it. But it's just one of those things, everything can't be as big as your football and your cricket and, even darts at the moment and boxing and everything. I think it's probably at the level that it deserves, rugby league, really. But interesting question, Tom, and it certainly raised a lot of interesting points there. So I think I've done everyone. Oh, no, sorry, Harry Kelly has asked me, what is the most terrifying moment or moments of your life so far? Well, apart from kind of realising that I was going bald before the age of 23, to be honest, I've not really been in a lot of, touch wood, I've not been in many kind of real terrifying moments so far, kind of when you consider people that have been in, say, car crashes or near misses and everything. Although having said that, a couple of years ago when I had a trip down to the Cotswolds with my ex. I can't even remember how it happened or what happened, but going along the motorway, I basically started to veer off and tried to save it and ended up snaking for about 5 seconds. It felt like the most tense 10 minutes of my life, but I was nearly veering into a caravan and quickly turned the wheel back, which is the worst thing I could possibly do. And yeah, was snaking for about 5 seconds. Oh, that was quite terrifying, actually. That literally just came to my head. And apart from that, not much. My first trip to Old Trafford as a Leeds United fan in about 2002, 2003. I think it was 2003. Walking into the away end there, and so bearing in mind, I'm a 13-year-old kid, and it's my first well, no, it was my second season following Leeds United away. Going into a hostile environment with Man United fans either side of this sort of police and steward cordon. Really, it was the first experience I'd had of kind of seeing football violence, really, hands-on experience of it. And, having a glass beer bottle literally just kind of scrape my eyebrows and go past my head and hit a poor stewardess on the head. She was okay, fortunately. But yeah, that was quite a terrifying moment. And then coming out after the match as well, coming out of the ground, again, just going through that, that was quite, well, I don't know if I want to say terrifying, but it was very unnerving. And as a little kid, I just wanted to get out of there. It wasn't an enjoyable experience at all. And then actually two things happened when I was in Italy on two separate visits. On the first one, on a coach tour going down the Amalfi Coast, those that have been to Italy or a lot of kind of foreign countries, some of the narrow roads along the coastline that you get there is just ridiculous. And when two coaches meet each other, and you're the coach that's on the outside road, and you're kind of looking down a massive bloody, at least sort of 500-foot drop, you're putting a hell of a lot of trust into this coach driver that looked the calmest you've ever seen a guy, typical calm Italian kind of guy. But yeah, that was a little bit nerve-wracking. And the other time was coming back to a hotel room after a day out in Italy, opening the room up and smelling what seemed like this awful kind of gas smell. And I literally thought, I was just literally just turning the light on as it happened, and I thought, is this going to blow? Because I've never ever smelled anything like it. It just went straight sort of to the back of my throat, and I felt it inside me. And I just started non-stop coughing straight away, and everyone else was sort of smelling, because it was a coach tour. Everyone was going to see what was wrong. And then there were two doctors, an Asian family were on the trip, and they were both doctors, and they said shut the door straight away, it's some kind of chemical reaction. And it turned out what it was the cleaner had for some reason mixed the chemicals and thrown them down the toilet, and it had mixed together and obviously created this awful reaction that had just gone through the room. But at the time we didn't know that. We thought it could have been some form of awful kind of gas or poison thing. And, I'd basically been the first one in the room and inhaled all the bloody stuff. But luckily it turned out to be, alright. But for a split second I thought, Jesus Christ, it's going to kill me. So that wasn't the best experience ever, but it was fine after that. It was all okay. So I think I've just about got to the end of everything there, guys. So that was a very nice variety of questions there. So yeah, thank you very much, guys. So as you can guess, I'm probably fresh out of questions now. So it's very imperative that you send them in to me. So yeah, please do send your questions in. Once again, please do leave it in the question time comments on the question time videos. Or at my Twitter at ChrisJonesLUFC. But if you do it on Twitter, make sure you use the hashtag Jonesy's Question Time or Jonesy's Questions, just so it's easier for me to keep track of them all, and I can bunch them all together and sort of note them down as we go along. And yeah, just like I always say, please try and keep it as varied as you can. Not just mainly sports questions, not just all random questions, just bunch it all together. And if you've already asked a sports question, maybe think of asking a more general question, and just change it up a bit and use your imagination a bit, guys, because I know you can do it. But yeah, cracking bunch of questions there. So thank you every single one of you for sending your questions in. And yeah, thank you for watching. If it's your first time here, then please do leave a like and a subscribe. That'd be much appreciated. And until next time, guys, thank you for watching. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you all very soon.